Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sorry for the slight delay this morning than normal. Lots been happening around the house actually this morning. Next door neighbour's car basically broke down outside the house, so I've been giving them a hand to sort that out. And basically quite a bit of news coming in first thing this morning as well, so I've been rewriting the news. And also, it's just really cold outside at the moment. Don't ask me why. So I've decided that I would do the broadcast not on the front balcony or on the rear balcony where I am at the moment, but I'm actually going to do it from inside the house once I've just shown you what it looks like outside at the moment, where at the moment it is, it's just got a really cold tinge in the air at the moment. Jane said to me, I hope you're not coming down with something. Well, I don't think I am, but it just feels very cold today. And we've also forecast for rain. We had a little bit of light rain this morning, ever so light rain. It basically, I'm hoping that we're not going to have a massive downpour, but we did have a little bit of rain this morning, but not a lot. Just a little sprinkling, like that fine rain, you know, goes straight through you. But anyway, a lot of people are envious of our weather at the moment. So anyway, let's crack on with the news of today. In fact, I'm going to see if I'm going to just show you the little kittens at the moment. I don't know if you can see that inside. Oh yeah, it can't get low enough, my camera, to show inside. I would show you where the little kittens are, but the little kitten is Mummy and Kitten are actually in the little dome there at the moment, the birthing dome. But we're going to hopefully the little one of them has survived and is doing rather well. Anyway, Mike Gatney says, "Good morning, mate." Good morning, Mike. And there we got Brian coming in at the moment. So what I'm going to do, let's switch the camera around. Steve Hinkling is watching. Andy the Fridge Watkins is watching as well. Still waiting for it to switch round. Come on, switch round. Come on. Oh God, you are slow today. Anyway, can I just say thank you to all those people for your support and everything else. It's been greatly appreciated. And there we go. Fantastic. Right. Let's crack on with the news because there's been so much happening on the island within the last 24 hours here. It is now April the 16th. It's Friday. Where has this week gone? It is day 162 of our lockdown. And COVID in the last 24 hours across the country, this is what's been happening. Yesterday, unfortunately, we've had an increase of infections across the country. I did report the day before of 3,089, which was down on the day before that. However, I'm afraid the infection rate is up to 3,833 new infections across the country. That means the grand total since the pandemic started now is 308,006, of which 51% of those are male. There were 16 new cases identified at entries into the country. That is also up from the day before where we had 12. Now, according to the national statistics at the moment, there was one case on Macardo. There were no new cases on Kefalonia. There were 11 cases on Corfu, and Zakynthos had 6 cases reported on the national stats. However, the latest data from last night up until this morning is the fact that we've had 10 new cases here on the island within the last 24 hours. Also as well, we have now 4 people who are in an incubated state in the local hospital, and 9 other people are being treated in the COVID clinic. So once again, that is an increase. If I remember rightly, we only had 1 incubated case up until a few days ago. And we had, if I remember rightly, 9 people actually in the COVID clinic. Now we have 4 incubated cases and 9 people in the COVID clinic. Just to give you an example, the difference between the incubated is the intensive care. The COVID clinic itself is people with COVID are there for observation, or maybe they are not yet serious enough to be incubated, but again, they're there just being basically treated by the hospital. So at the moment, that is a bit of a cause for concern. our COVID clinic can take up to 19 patients at the moment. So in fact, you could actually say that the COVID clinic at the moment is half full. But I'm not going to go for melodramatic language or anything like that. There's enough people doing melodramatic reporting at the moment and blowing things, shall we say, a little bit out of the ballpark. Anyway, that means at the moment Zakynthos has had 402 positive cases since the beginning of the year. And this month alone, Zakynthos has had 128 cases for the month of April. Once again, these numbers I'm giving you are the numbers of confirmed cases, not of the national statistics, all right? So the national statistics puts it a little bit higher, about 136, but 128 is of those people that I particularly can confirm have had the disease and basically has been reported in the local media. There was, again, a lot of cut and pasting going on, basically, of national statistics and printing them. I'm pleased to see that a lot of the papers, I don't know whether they heard this on the grapevine, that sometimes the national statistics were out of sync with what was going on in the local statistics, and shall we say a more balanced approach has been now gone towards reporting numbers, in the fact that they publish both the national and they publish both the locally confirmed cases as well. So I'm pleased that has actually really now come a long way since it all first kicked off. Anyway, at the moment, when it comes to deaths, Greece yesterday has had a high death toll again, up from 81 on the previous announcement to now 104 new deaths across the country. That brings the total of deaths now since the pandemic started to 9,239. The average age of those is 79 years of age. 96% of those had underlying health conditions or were over the age of 70 years of age. So once again, our condolences to those people that have passed away. And I've got to be honest, when you look at that in comparison to what the average daily death toll was in 2019, which was 329 people a day, 104 people on top of that is quite another big jump there. So again, it's not as big as some other nations. So let's get this into context. In the whole of the picture of Europe, the whole of the picture of the world, it's still a small amount in comparison to what other nations have been experiencing at the moment. And please do not forget that as well. All right. So at the moment then, we have still had just 7 deaths since the pandemic started on Zakynthos. We had 3 last year in 2020, and this year we've had 4. Last death we had was just a week or so ago, and that was an 88-year-old woman. And when you look at all of those that passed away, they were all people who were underlying health problems over the age of 70, or basically of an elderly age, shall we say. Right, critical cases, as we've already seen, critical cases are up at the moment across Greece. 809 was what I reported to you last time. Now, today, 819 critical cases in hospitals across the country. 515 male, 504 female, and of course, just to remind you again that we do have 4 people in incubation here now on Zakynthos, and obviously 9 people being treated in the coronavirus clinic. Again, we shall see if any details are released on those people, their ages, their sex, just to give us some idea as to those people that have been affected. Anyway, as today's news then, coronavirus cases are on the rise in Greece. On Thursday, as high school students and teachers are now required to take self-tests for the virus 2 times a week. This has drastically increased the number of people tested for coronavirus, and therefore those found to be positive in the country. So again, the more you test, the more you're going to find. Anyway, on Wednesday, the Greek Minister of Labour, Kostis Hatzakis, announced that a wide range of workers, including all of those in retail and the service industry, would now also be required to take self-tests each week, starting on Monday. And I must admit, yesterday I was talking to people about the self-testing and about how they're going to handle it, and some people are not really quite clear 100% how they're going to handle it. You've got to remember that if you self-test and you lie about your result and you're found out, that's a €300 fine. If you're a business owner and somebody in your business tests positive for the virus and you haven't checked, you're going to be fined €1,500. And it's raised a lot of questions as to how is this going to be policed? Are we going to have spot checks coming in where people are just going to come in off the street, like the health come in and they check the noise levels, the police and the eco-police come in to check who's legal on the books? Are we now likely to see the mobile health now going around spot checking takeaway places who are doing takeaway coffee, etc. like that, and then run a test there and then inside the venue to see if that person is clean or not? It's going to be interesting how this is going to be implemented, and if this is the way ahead for the summer, where people have to self-test who are working in hospitality, in the hotels, etc., and how are people then going to be able to replace staff at the drop of a hat? How will that knock on to the staff that are already working if one of their colleagues turns out to be positive and turns out to come down with the virus? There's a lot of ifs and maybes now that are going to come out of these new measures that have been put in. And I'm just wondering if this is just going to be another can of worms that's going to be opened that has not been properly thought through and is going to probably come back to bite the country on the backside as the tourist season goes underway. But at the moment, I think things are really on the turn at the moment as to way things are going to work for the 14th of May, when Greece's official tourist season actually starts. Anyway, also as well from today, those citizens in Greece between the ages of 18 and 59 who suffer from underlying illnesses, they can now apply for COVID-19 vaccination appointments, and the vaccinations will be prioritised depending on how serious your illnesses are. And also, as from Wednesday, April the 21st, appointments will now start to be processed to begin with teachers aged between 55 to 59 years of age, and citizens from April the 24th, with citizens from the 50 to 54 age group, they can now also go for appointments to have the vaccine as well. Anyway, a spokesman for the Greek government announced yesterday afternoon. Now this is another bit of craziness that has just come in. A spokesman for the Greek government announced yesterday afternoon that on the smaller Greek islands, with a population of up to 10,000 residents, vaccinations will go ahead irrespective of age or underlying illnesses. Now, whether that's being done to basically make it, shall we say, easier to administer for those number of people, that amount of vaccine, so that at least that island is then done and dusted in one sweep and people are not having to go back again and again to reach the next criteria, that has not yet been fully explained. There are other people who are saying, well, it's the smaller islands that, shall we say, the rich and famous like to cruise to on their big yachts and their big boats, and they can go in somewhere, have a nice holiday, blah, 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 and then leave again, no problem. So again, it looks like maybe there's a two-tier system coming here for people with the money, being able to go to the smaller islands, cruise about in the smaller islands, or whether it's an administrative thing. Again, you know, that hasn't yet been fully explained as to why they're actually taking that approach as well. Anyway, they also said as well yesterday that a new directive is due due to the recent increase in the number of Pfizer biotech doses being delivered to the EU in the next 3 months. At present, more than 55,000 vaccinations are being dispensed each day in Greece. Regarding concern over the safety of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, it was also stated that the government is waiting for the European Medicines Agency to issue a directive as to whether it can be added to the vaccines already being used within the Union. So at the moment, they're still waiting for more confirmation as to whether that vaccine is going to be trotted out at the moment and administered to people here in Greece. Anyway, the other thing that was of big interest to people yesterday is regarding Easter. Don't forget, for those people who aren't aware, our Greek Easter is on the 2nd of April. The 2nd of May. Regarding Greek Easter, now the spokesman who said this confirmed that it is still too early for the Greek government to confirm what restrictions will be in place over the festive period, as this will depend on the epidemiological data at the time towards the end of the month. So at the moment, people still don't know whether Easter is going to go ahead, yes or no. And also, technically, if this had been a normal year, we would have had Easter literally at the start of the beginning of the tourist season. So again, we will wait and see what's happening. Right, something again away from COVID. No, actually, this is COVID related as well, I'm afraid. There's been more intensive checks carried out by the police on the Ionian Islands for the implementation of measures to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Midday on Wednesday in Macardo, that's one of the little islands in the Ionian, for those people who don't know, a gym manager was arrested and fined €3,000 because he'd allowed people to go inside the gym to train. And also those people inside that gymnasium, they were also all fined €300 each for obviously breaking the rules there. Also in the same period, there were 12 infringements confirmed in Corfu. There were 6 in Zakynthos, there were 2 in Kefalonia and 2 in Macardo for breaking restrictions on movement. And all of those people were fined €300 each. Once again, just to remind you, for those people who are not aware, who might be looking in, we have to book in and book out with the police every time you leave your home. You do this by sending an SMS text message. And if you are out without booking out, you will be fined €300. Or if you're out booking, if you've booked out and the police do not think what you're doing is a legitimate reason to be out, then again, you can still be fined €300. And also, again, we have a curfew at night, where again, if you are out after that curfew, and for us here in Zakynthos, it's from 9 o'clock at night till 5 o'clock in the morning. If you're out on the roads driving about at those times and you're stopped, you again can be fined up to €300 for driving outside of the curfew. The only reason you're allowed to be on the roads at night is if, one, you're going to get medical treatment, medical attention in an emergency, or 2, if you're going to work. But if you're going to work, you must have substantiating paperwork to show that you are going to work at those times. So again, the police have been very hot. Not only that, the Ionian police also further reported 3 arrests in the Ionian area, in Zakynthos and Corfu during police checks on drugs. In particular, the first case was in Zakynthos on Wednesday, where 2 locals were arrested here by police officers of the Dias group. Now, the Dias group are the motorcycle guys that you see riding around. They were found to be in possession of small quantities of raw cannabis, and they were also carrying a precision scale as well. They were arrested and those items were confiscated. And in a second case in Corfu, police officers again of the Dias, they also arrested a local man there who was found to be in possession of a small amount of raw cannabis. All of those 3 people have been arrested and have gone before the prosecutors in their local areas. Once again, these drug bust cases are not connected. It's just the police do send out every so often a memorandum of all the arrests that they've done within the last few days. And I like looking at those to see what has been going on the other islands as well as on our own. known. Anyway, another interesting story at the moment that's in the Greek national press about police said on Thursday a delivery driver had been arrested in Athens on charges of stealing a vial of COVID-19 vaccine. Yet police said the incidents occurred at a vaccination centre in northern Athens. The suspect is believed to have stolen the vial of Pfizer vaccine while delivering a coffee to staff. So it seems like he was one of these guys who's delivering the takeaway coffees, taking it to the staff. Now, when he was arrested, they said that the vial that he'd actually taken contains 4 to 6 doses of the vaccine. Now, the thing is that if you take one of these vials, it's not a case of you can go get a syringe and stick it in your arm and inject yourself. Not that I'd want to be doing that. But the point is the vaccine has to be diluted at first as well. And also as well, the vaccine has to be stored at minus 70 degrees Celsius. And if it is not stored at that temperature, it basically becomes ineffectual. So again, this guy's got himself into a lot of trouble stealing a vial of vaccine. And also the fact that if he tried to probably self-administer it to himself or maybe to his family, he may have actually made the situation for them far, far worse. Anyway, the other big story at the moment, which is not COVID related, which you'll be pleased to hear, time is running out for the summer, as you can probably understand, and the municipality of Zakynthos has been having meetings a couple of days ago in regards the lifeguard situation on the island. Now, a problem has arisen that the municipality will have to spend some money if it wants to have lifeguard cover here on Zakynthos. And at the moment, Zakynthos needs, believe it or not, 28 lifeguards and 7 supervisors to cover all the beaches around the island. It's also been said at the moment that the law has changed as well in regarding facilities and the cover for lifeguards as well, which means that the municipality can be fined up to €2,000 a time for non-cover of beaches and also lack of equipment as well for the lifeguards that are there trying to do this job. So at the moment, there's been a meeting held by the Zakynthos committee where basically they're talking about putting out to private tender to a company to cover the costs of lifeguards basically being deployed around the island. At the moment, they're looking at a cost of around about €400,000 for a company to come in to take over this role. And at the moment, the opposition are quite annoyed is because no decision has yet been made by the municipality. The municipality at the moment have said they want a mixture of maybe a private company and also public municipality actually coming together to actually get this situation sorted. But at the moment, the opposition isn't happy with this. They say they're wasting time because they're going to have another meeting for another meeting to basically make a decision as to whether they're going to go with a private tender for a private company to run the whole of the operation, or whether the municipality will run it themselves, which means then they've got to start spending money on equipment. And not only are they talking about just the watchtowers and the people, but also first aid equipment, motorboats as well to go out and do any rescues that need to be done, and also employing the trained people to actually do this. And at the moment, there's only a very small pool of trained lifeguards within Greece, and they are in great demand in the summer. Trust me, if you have a lifeguard qualifications, you will probably get a job very easily as a lifeguard in the summer. It all sounds like Baywatch, doesn't it? But this is a situation that with Zakynthos's popularity, that a lot of beaches didn't really have adequate lifeguard cover, and now the government has stepped in and has basically enforced a law which is enforced by the port police, and the municipality is leaving itself open to fines if there is no lifeguard cover in place. So again, it's a little interesting story that I'll refer back to as and when I find out more about it. Also, another story. Now, it's interesting that these stories are coming into the Greek media very late and it's like they've held these stories back for some reason. Small groups of demonstrators clashed with police on Friday in the northern Greek city of Thessaloniki at the end of a march to protest a new law allowing the policing of university campuses. About 7,000 people participated in the march, which had been peacefully initially, and then a group of around about 100 protesters started throwing petrol bombs and other objects at riot police, who responded with tear gas and stun grenades. Authorities said one protester was arrested on the suspicion of throwing a petrol bomb. He was taken to hospital after being injured during his arrest, apparently by a petrol bomb landing nearby, which caught both the protester and a riot policeman who was trying to detain him. Students also marched in Athens as well. The Greek government's decision to allow the policing of university campuses has sparked frequent protests in recent months. Despite the coronavirus-related lockdown restrictions, several of these demonstrations have turned violent. Police access to universities has been restricted for decades and has been a very politically contentious issue. Anyway, the Greek centre-right government has argued that the ban has been exploited by some, using campuses as a safe haven to conduct criminal activity or to launch violent protests. However, the political opponents have accused the government of using the pandemic lockdown to sanction greater powers for the police. Well, that's not just in Greece, that is everywhere else. Bigger powers have been given to the police during this pandemic crisis, supposedly to save us all from dying from a disease. And if anything, it's only just emboldened the police with a lot of laws and a lot of stuff that even the police don't fully understand, but they sort of go out and act on it, and then obviously just make situations worse. Anyway, there has the reason for the ban of police on the campuses. This dates back to the time of the 67 to 74, when the junta was in power, and basically the universities were seen as areas of political dissidency, and because they were seen as a source of political dissidency, the polytechnics came under major attacks from the military. There was a student-led revolt in 1973 which centred around the Polytechnic in Athens, which was brutally crushed with a tank breaking down the Polytechnic's gate, and the military stormed the complex, and that was one of the reasons why the universities had this special dispensation, and they actually got the phrase sanctuary. It was like, if you get to a university campus, you're in an area of sanctuary, and the police cannot go there and arrest you, basically. So yeah, there was a room there, shall we say, for a bit of unscrupulous activity to go on, but I think that was very minor in comparison. But again, it's the fact that this is democracy that's being attacked by those in power, and the Greeks very big on the old democracy thing, that feeling that no, this is not right. We still remember the junta, the 1970s, and the fact is we see this as a step backwards rather than a step forwards. And of course, with everything that's going on with COVID, shall we just say the situation is being milked for maximum political power, and Mitsotakis again wanting to put police into there. I'll be very keen to see what the statistics are about the supposed criminal activity that has gone on these university campuses. Is it pranks, shall we say, or is it serious criminal activity? It would be interesting to see what the actual police statistics and figures are and what incidents there are. And I've got to be honest, I haven't seen many incidents reported in the mainstream media all the years that I've been living here about activities, scrupulous activities going on in the university campuses, whether it's all hidden away and we don't know about it. But certainly there's not a lot written about it in the mainstream media here in Greece as to what has been going on that would warrant a crackdown like it has. I think a lot of it is political. They don't like hearing an opinion, and they don't like hearing somebody with an opposition to what you're probably trying to do. So again, I shall keep an eye on that and we'll see where that leads. Anyway, and finally, yes, and finally story. I'm not sure if you realise this. I didn't realise this until just this morning. But April the 15th is the anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. Yeah, back in 1912, the largest passenger ship of its era. We probably all watched the film with what's his name, Sink the Titanic, and Titanic itself with what is his name? I can't think of his name. You know. Anyway. Believe it or not, there was only ever 4 Greeks who were on board the Titanic, and it seems that every year in Greece there's a little memorial to the 4 people who basically 2 of them were brothers, and one was a man who came back to his village, which was in the Peloponnese, to basically go to his son's baptism. He then took another friend with him, and all 4 of them decided they would all go back to America because they obviously wanted a better life. They wanted to earn money and send money home, etc., etc. And all 4 of them, it sounds like something from a movie, really. They all got onto the ship and then obviously sailed away to go back to America. 2 of them, the 2 brothers, for the very first time, they were becoming immigrants. And then the guy who came back for his baptism of his son, who then talked a friend into coming with him back to America, even though his wife had said, please stay in the village, he decided that he wanted to go off and obviously make a fortune and then bring his family over at a later date. Well, unfortunately, as the iceberg struck, only one of them managed to get to a lifeboat. He was never seen again. He was the one with the son back in the Peloponnese village. The only reason he got as far as getting into a lifeboat was because he spoke a bit of English and he was able to understand where to go when the emergency happened. But the boat that he got into was never found. His body was never found. And the other 3, they all perished on the Titanic itself. And there is a little monument, actually, to the memory of the 2 brothers and the 2 friends in the village still. And that is the only monument to these guys. And it's in the village of Messalina. And that was their memorial. And even to this day, there's still a little ceremony to remember the 4 guys from the village who went on the Titanic to go and seek their fortune, but unfortunately tragedy overtook. So there you go, a little story there for you. And I never realised that that was just a couple of days ago. Right, let's have a look and see who's tuning in at the moment. I see lots of comments. Jojo Lee says, this is lovely. Oh, thank you, Jojo. I'm so pleased about that. I wish I could have shown you the little kittens, actually. Anyway, Jojo Lee is watching. Steve Hinkling says, Gallimera looks lovely, not jealous at all. No, you should still be here, Steve. Steve was supposed to be here this week, enjoying his first holiday to Zakynthos over the year, but obviously that wasn't to be. But hopefully you might make it at some point once we all know what the hell's going on. Wendy Norcliffe is tuning in. Julie Meldrum is tuning in. Maria Hadelberg over there in Sweden is tuning in. Gail Marsden is watching as well. Gail Marsden says, a beautiful view. Good morning. Well, it is a beautiful view, but it's just that little bit cold for me. I think my blood has thinned too much. That's what it is. John Bailey is watching as well. John Bailey says, morning, buddy. Hope you have a great weekend. I think, yeah, we will survive the weekend. Every day is the same in some respects. Kevin Bell is watching as well. Mike Gatley said good morning. Nice to see you. Emma Marku is watching. Rob Davis is watching. Andrew the Fridge Watkins over there is watching. Amanda Gregory says, good morning, Ginge. Some sunshine and cloud, maybe a chance of showers later today. Highs of 19 degrees Feels like 21. Have a good day. Well, I must admit, it didn't feel like that to me this morning. And we have had a bit of rain this morning, but just a very fine little bit of rain. But I'm hoping maybe it might burn off and warm up just a little bit more than it is at the moment. Anyway, Teresa Ann Huggett is also watching as well. Jill Ford is watching too. Christine Wildridge is watching as well. Nice to see you. Amanda Gregory obviously watching. I got you. Patsy Ann Dobson says, hiya Ginge. Weather sunny here in Margate, but still a bit chilly. But we're expecting better weather next week. Great news. Fantastic. Just a quick one for you, Patsy Ann. I've been trying to track down the guys at the Fez Bar. I'm not sure if the Fez Bar is still open. If you do get a chance to wander around that area up by the Boys Hotel to where the Fez Bar is, just have a look in. Just see if it's still going. I saw pictures of stuff being removed. I'm praying that they are able to ride out what's going on at the moment. I know there is a campaign to pedestrianise the street that they're in, which would be fantastic, which means if they could pedestrianise that street, then obviously they can serve people outside, you know. Again, this is going to be a big weekend at the moment in the UK where people are going to be having their first Friday night drink maybe after a week at work if they're still working at the moment, and it'll be interesting to see how things pan out in the UK this weekend, the first weekend of freedom for people in the UK. Excuse me. Anyway, Yanni Tascos is also watching as well. Lovely to see you, Yanni. Alf Ling is watching as well. Matt Pickard is watching. Pam Stott is watching as well. Lovely to have you looking in. Jerry Coyle is watching. Fiona Hutton is watching. She says, morning, Ginge. Hope you and Jane are well. We are fantastic. Thank you, my darling. Lisa Goodhue is watching as well. Donna in Brighton is also tuning in. Nice to have you tuning in, Donna, as well. Looking in, checking up on how things are going. Baz Hasworth is also tuning in as well. Gary Hipswell, nice to see you. Michael Wood is tuning in. Patsy Ann Dobson is watching. Teresa Stokes is also watching as well. Nice to see you looking in, Teresa. Mick Ling over there in the other part of the island is tuning in as well, as long as his good lady, Catherine, tuning in as well. Dean Oliver, Rackridge Buddy, tuning in. Donna says, good morning, Colin. Hope you're both keeping well and safe. We are, my lovely. Thank you. Jan Lawrence is watching. Mary Heidelberg is saying, good morning, good morgen. Hope you are having a great weekend. Stay safe. We will. Fiona says, I got my second vaccine on Saturday, so that's great. Good. That means you should be able to do anything you want to. But it still worries me at the moment is that even though you've had the 2 doses of the vaccine, they still want to test you twice a week and they still want to, you know, make you pay for those tests. But you've had the vaccine, you know. Anyway, I hope you're all right. You didn't have any side effects and that you're okay. All right. Also, Heather Harvey Green over there in Sylvie is watching. She says, Gallimera Ginge, nice to see you tuning in. Ben Warner, beachradio.co.uk. Don't forget today, broadcasting at 3 o'clock this afternoon, live from Studio One. And then as soon as that show finishes at 5 o'clock, switch across to beachradio.co.uk. And my dance anthem show kicks off from 5 o'clock your time in the UK till 7 o'clock, getting your weekend ready. I've got to be honest, last week's show has done incredibly well on the Mixcloud chart. It got into the pop chart, it got into the house chart, and it also got into the techno house chart as well. Absolutely amazed. Really good show. It's up online if you want to have a listen to that at some point. By all means, go ahead. But listen to my latest show, which is tonight, 5 o'clock your time in the UK till 7 o'clock, which is 7 o'clock our time till 9 o'clock Greek time, as it were. But anyway, tune in today. 2 lots of broadcasting for me. It's a busy day. All right. Alan Woodhouse is watching as well. Janet Cooney is watching. Also, John Mims, congratulations and happy wedding anniversary to you and your lovely lady. And also give my regards to Michael Jackson, to your son. I've forgotten his name now. Oh, God, I've forgotten his name. Oh, I can't. I must be going senile. But anyway, happy anniversary, John. And I hope you have a great day, you and your lovely wife. Mitch, that's it, Mitch. I remember his name now. Give Mitch my regards. Anyway, Chick Ballantyne is tuning in as well. Debbie Walthamstow's tuning in. Julie Robertson's tuning in. Heather Harvey is watching it. I've got Paul Bruff is watching. Brian Darlington. John Clifford says there should be lifeguards on the Uzo over there. You don't want lifeguards on the Uzo. You've actually prompted me. I've just remembered that tomorrow is the funeral of the Duke of Edinburgh. Tomorrow, Prince Philip. So again, hoping that we're going to be able to watch that. I think it starts our time here in Greece about 4 o'clock, about 2 o'clock. I think your time in the UK. Again. I was looking at some of the preparations for that, and I'm amazed that he'd actually built his own hearse. Yeah, he basically got a Land Rover Defender and had it converted into a hearse. And looking at the pictures of it, it looks an absolutely terrific vehicle. And I'm thinking he spent, believe it or not, 16 years working on the preparation of this vehicle for his final drive, and it's in military olive drab green, and it looks awesome. And I really will. I've got to be honest. The end of an era, end of an institution. I just hope the Queen is going to be all right, and she's going to be able to soldier on, as it were. Because it's going to be difficult for her with Philip gone. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. There will be people. Do you know what? I bet you if bars and places would have been open, there would have been a lot of places, that people would have just gone to watch the funeral. The same way we watched the royal wedding a few years ago with the two Herberts. Again, it's going to be a sad day. You can feel the winds of change coming into the UK, and we'll see how his final journey, which is not a state funeral, it's just a low-key funeral, and how that will play out, and we'll see what happens. I've just seen somebody writing, "Bring on King Charlie." Anyway, we'll wait and see. Anyway, Margaret Miller's watching, Martin Paul Hazard's watching. Unfortunately, you can't believe what the MSN report, mainstream media. Yeah, I don't believe half of what the mainstream media report. I look between the independent media, the mainstream media, read between the lines, take one from the other, and make a decision from there. I do really feel sorry for people at the moment. If you just look at one set of news stories, the news is written to set an agenda of what you're looking at, all right, or what your political leanings might be. Straightforward, unbiased news is very difficult to find, and a lot of people fear unbiased news, because why? It will it ruins the agenda for either one or the other side. All right. Anyway, Ben Warner says, "Oi, oi, nice to see you, Ben." He says he's back in the office tonight. He's working, bless him. He won't be out having a good night out in Canterbury. That'd be a place to go. Good night out in Canterbury, or good night out in Margate as well. Gail Marsden says, "If people misbehave this weekend, we may end up back in lockdown." Well, we'll wait and see. I'm just hoping people don't go nuts and go stupid with it. People kind of play the game, shall we say. Don't get the police bloody riled up and involved, because half the time they don't know what they're bloody well doing, and they make the situation worse. Better to walk away. Basically, stay sensible, guys, because we want to get out of this lockdown. Trust me, we've been 162 days in lockdown. We have had the longest lockdown in Europe, more so than anywhere else in Europe, and we just are now fed up, really fed up. We see businesses that are going down the pan. We see people going to have difficulty reopening, and now extra rules being put in place. Weekly testing of employees in businesses that are due with hospitality. Next thing, it will be enforced vaccination for people who are working in hospitality. I see that on the cards, most definitely coming at some point. But again, at the end of the day, we just want to get out of this lockdown, get out of the worry of going out somewhere, getting stopped, and the police don't like your reason for being out. They Where's your shopping? Where's this? Where's that? Where are you going? And also the fact that we have to keep booking in and out all the time, and we can't go out of our house after 9 o'clock at night. You know, not that there's anywhere to go, but again, it's just all this lockdown. And if anything we've proved is lockdowns don't work. We've still got a high infection rate in comparison to the country, not in comparison to Europe. Let's get that clear. We're still way down on the list of infections. So please don't forget that. We're way down on the list of infections, and we're still, I feel, a very safe place to come at the moment with everything that's going on. Anyway, Fiona Hutton says, still keeping safe, no taking anything for granted, Gin. Ben Warner's sending me fire. Thank you, Ben. John Clifford has said, had to rehearse it today. Oh, you had to rehearse it today. All right, fair. I think that's a joke there. I bet it's above my head. Amanda Gregory saying, bring on King Charlie. Fiona Hutton says, coverage of the funeral for Prince Philip is starting at 12:30 p.m. Is that 12:30 p.m. UK time or our time, my lovely? Let me know. Obviously, you'll be like an associate producer here. I like this. This is good. Makes my job easier. There you go. I just read it. You tell me it. Anyway, Dawn Usher is watching as well. Gaz Collins. Hello, mate. Gaz Collins. Lovely to see you, bro. I hope you're good. Just to let you know, Gaz, on Sunday night, I do a Northern Soul request show. I had the Freemasons Scooter Club get in touch with me, actually doing my last show. They are the Slide and Compass Motor Scooter Club. They're Freemasons scooter riders. Absolutely awesome. And I know you're in the club, shall we say, and I just thought you might like to know the Masons are chasing me. All right, so nice to see you looking in, fella. I hope you managed to make it here as well in the summer. Again, people are replying. If people misbehave this weekend, we may end up back in lockdown. Amanda Gregory says, Boris said no returns, laugh out loud. Sam Curtis is tuning in. He says, hi, Ginge. Alex, love the surprise of the Golden Vault on Wednesday show. Look forward to today's show. Hope you are well. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to today's show. I really am. Once again, tune in at 3 o'clock. Any requests, stick them down at the bottom and I will happily play those tunes for you. Anyway, Fiona Hutton says it all UK time. Lovely. Thank you very much for that. It must be 12:30 UK time. Anyway, right, listen, I'm going to have to go now. Gaz Collins says, September, bro. Thanks for the shout out, mate. That's my pleasure, fella. Right, I'm going to have to go now. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, I'm on air today just after, at 3 o'clock your time in the UK, which is 5 o'clock my time here in Greece. And then straight after that show, which will finish at 5 o'clock your time in the UK, I'm on beatsradio.co.uk. It's a recorded show, but I will be hanging around in the chat area and I'll probably be sat on the veranda watching the sunset, and I'll be tapping away on the old tippy-tappy to everybody who are in the chat area. So come and join me tonight on beatsradio.co.uk and maybe join that station over the weekend. Lots of great music, lots of great stuff. No advertising, no news stories, none of that, just music, a little bit of chat, a bit of comment, and a really nice radio station, which seems to be doing really, really well at the moment. And also you can tune into them on your car stereo with the My Tuner app. Get that from the thingy, it's free, and then it enables you to listen to the station while you're driving around. And if you're out and about tonight, enjoying your first lockdown Friday night in the UK, all I'll say is you lucky people. I wish we were enjoying a Friday night out down at the little Stecky Taverna down the road from us, less than 20 metres, where we could sit and have a drink, have something to eat, no washing up to do, no cooking to do, and then stagger back to our house 20 metres up the road. That would be a delight. And as Maria Heidelberg says, oh my God, 162 days, you must be going mad. Haven't you noticed? Anyway, I've got to go. Thank you for staying tuned in and locked in, and I will catch you later. Ta-ra.